Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of TCG Radio. So today, for the very first time ever, we're going to have a chat about Greedent. This is the exciting time where lots of Pokemon are getting their first ever cards. We are not too far away from that being a thing of the past, or at least having to wait a while till it comes around again. So let's enjoy it while we can, shall we? What we've got, and I should give a shout out to the lovely David Hockman over at limitlesstcg.com/translations for giving us a translation here. And starting off then, we've got 120 HP. 120 HP is alright. For a stage 1, it's fine. We can go a little bit higher, but it's certainly nothing to get particularly upset about. We've got a retreat cost of 1, which is lovely with stuff like U-turn board at the moment, so that's quite nice. And we've got a weakness to fighting, which, as I've said quite a lot, this weakness itself isn't a problem, but there's stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom being really good, which could make this a problem if people start playing more fighting. I remain convinced that Excadrill is amazing, but I seem very much alone in that thinking. Never mind. Now, it is a colourless Pokemon, which means you're hitting nothing for weakness. It means you don't get any extra tricks. Does mean you've got triple acceleration energy, and you can see from just looking at the card here that that's going to be useful. But by the same token, let's not pretend that this is the only Pokemon that's going to use triple acceleration energy, so let's not get terribly excited about it. The basics are fine, they're not terribly impressive, but the ability, ladies and gentlemen, the ability we like very much indeed. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for a Pokemon tool, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This is absolutely going to work. Like, really, genuinely going to work. You see, Pokemon tools are awesome, and we do not have great ways of searching them out. Well, no, that's not true. We have a couple of things. We have Adventure Bag at the moment, which will search out any 2 tools, and we have Guzma and Hala, which will search itself out a tool, and will also at the same time search itself out a stadium or a special energy. So in that regard, this is quite nice. However, we don't really have many good options for Pokemon to get them out. And that's kind of where this comes in. This searches out Pokemon tools in a way which we're just not used to having. We don't usually have abilities that search out Pokemon tools. You know, I do my research for these videos. I like to think I'm pretty gosh darn thorough. And, you know, we've got things like the Oranguru from Crimson Invasion, which will take 3 Pokemon tools out of your discard pile and put them into your hand. Which is lovely, but it's not exactly, you know, you're using an attack to get them out of your discard pile. Let's not pretend that's going to be some amazing, great way to do it. And that's basically it. That's our other option right now. This just will get you a nice, straightforward, no issue Pokemon tool, and it's every turn. And the thing is, alright, I fully understand that this gets you 1 and Adventure Bag gets you 2. But generally speaking, on an average turn, how often do you really need 2? Like, how often do you really need to search out 2 Pokemon tools right now? Most of the time, 1 Pokemon tool will be enough. That's the point, ladies and gentlemen. That's the point. And Pokemon tools do a huge amount of stuff. I mean, if you're playing a Jirachi, and let's face it, a lot of people are playing Jirachi in their deck at the moment, you have an amazing ability that looks at the top 5 cards of your deck, you grab a trainer, put it in your hand, but then you go to sleep. But a skateboard reduces your retreat cost by 1, which for Jirachi puts it down to 0, and lets you retreat even though you're asleep, and that's amazing. But we've all had those games where we cannot find a skateboard with Jirachi. Well, Greedent comes in and he's got your back. Or maybe you'd rather have a U-turn board. That will work as well. Maybe you're a psychic deck and you know your opponent's taking a KO next turn. Grab yourself a spell tag, your opponent KOs you, but you still get to drop 4 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon in any way that you like. And actually, yeah, That's going to be extremely useful. We've got Vitality Band that just came around in Sword and Shield that lets you do an extra 10 damage on all of your attacks. In the next set, we're getting that Cursed Shovel card I showed you recently. The one that will let you discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck if it is attached to a Pokemon that is KO'd. And now we can there's so much good stuff going on here. There are so many good, useful things you can do with Pokemon tools, and now all of a sudden we're just off. And that's kind of my point with this. Not every deck relies on Pokemon tools. There are plenty of decks that just don't care. Maybe you really need that air balloon to give yourself free retreat. In which case, wonderful. Maybe you're super excited about that lucky egg. And then you have a Pokemon KO, but you draw until you've got 7 cards in your hand. Maybe that giant charm is going to give you the extra 30 HP you really need, or big charm as it was actually translated, to survive a hit. But maybe you don't. Maybe it's a fighting deck and you need Martial Arts Dojo. Not every single... Well, Martial Arts Dojo is a stadium. Karate Belt is a tool. My point is here that there are a lot of decks that are going to rely on tools. And if you're not relying on tools, fine. But any deck that is relying on tools, Greedent is going to be amazing. And let's not forget, Greedent is a Stage 1 Pokemon. So as a Stage 1 Pokemon here, all you need to do is just play 1 in any deck of a Ditto Prism Star. And it doesn't need to be some huge thing in your deck. And you know what? Maybe you don't get Greedent out. It's still not the end of the world. This gives you the opportunity to try and get something rolling here. This gives you a chance. This gives you, even if you're just playing a single Greedent in a deck with Ditto Prism Star, it gives you the potential to go, you know what, boom, now we're rolling. That's what I love about this, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I think this is so gosh darned good. Now, I've been talking so far about your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill use. This is just the, oh, you know what, yeah, let's just do this. Let's just search out one tool. It gives me a little bit of extra consistency. But then we've got those other Pokemon. The one for whom Pokemon tools are not just an occasional help, but a way of life. Think Alolan Ninetales. Now, I know this is on my mind, right? Because Alolan Ninetales is one of my favourite cards in the game at the moment. 0 energy, 10 damage for each Pokemon tool in your discard pile. Yes. So now, every time you're about to use a quick ball to search out a basic Pokemon, just grab a tool and make sure you can discard it. Every time you're about to use a Professor's Research to discard your hand and draw 7 cards, grab an extra Pokemon tool into your hand before you do so. Anytime any discarding is happening, Greedent makes sure you've got an extra tool. Not to mention that Alolan Ninetales can use Fairy Charm, because it's a fairy Pokemon. So if you're against a Pikachu and Zekrom deck, go and grab yourselves a Fairy Charm Lightning. If you're against a Mewtwo and Mew deck, go and grab yourselves a Fairy Charm Ability. Or whatever it might be. And because you're playing a Stage 1 that doesn't need energy, and you do need a huge amount of tools, you can really afford in this deck to go a little bit silly playing a whole bunch of extra Fairy Charms dependent on the matchup, and play a couple of each, and then Greedent searches the right one out at the right time. Although some of these Fairy Charms might not last a huge amount of time after rotation, but that's not the point. The point is we've got a lot of different options here. Or indeed, we could have a little bit of a look at Doublade. Doublade's got that really nice tool drop attack, the one that does 30 damage for each tool in play, yours and your opponent's. Sure would be nice if you could have some more tools. And let's be clear, when you're playing stuff like Alolan Ninetales, like Doublade, you can still search for the perfect Pokemon tool at the right time. You just also get the extra advantage here, which is just wonderful. I'm not saying every deck is going to play Greedent in huge numbers. What I am saying is that any deck that is really reliant on tools is going to want to play Greedent. And I am saying that any deck like Alolan Ninetales or Doublade, whose entire point is built around tools, is definitely going to want to play Doublade. Anyone else can just whack a Ditto Prism Star in their deck, which if they're playing stage 1s or 2s, they're probably doing anyway. And then they can just get this rolling when they want to. Make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is absolutely brilliant, absolutely wonderful, and I expected seeing a huge amount of play, so I'm giving it 4 Wassies. And again, I might be wrong, I might be overrating it, people might never play it. But a lot of decks play Pokemon tools. Some play multiple. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could have the perfect Pokemon tool card at the right time, every time? Yes. That sounds pretty good to me. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to know what you think. I'd like to hear from you, lovely ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to know what tools you're going to use with this. Whether you think it's going to see any play. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned awesome nonetheless. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.